I want you to visualize a storm. But do me a favor. Erase that romantic image you might have in your head. You know the one, the big oil painting with the moody clouds and the lone heroic captain like clutching the wheel.
Right, looking epic.
Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about. I mean the modern storm, the one we actually live in.
The one that doesn't look like an adventure.
Unfair.
It looks like chaos.
It looks like my inbox on a Tuesday morning. It's just disorienting. It's relentless. The sky isn't dark. It's like fractured by lightning bolts of conflicting demands.
And the waves aren't water.
No. They're quarterly deadlines, their health scares, the sudden loss of a key client, or just that gnawing, low-level hum of anxiety that's always asking, what if everything just falls apart?
And in this metaphor, I guess the ship is you, or the version of you that's trying desperately to keep all the cargo dry.
That's the part that keeps me up at night. Because, and I think I speak for a lot of people here, we have optimized the heck out of that ship.
Oh, for sure.
We've scaled our businesses, we have the productivity apps, we've biohacked our sleep. I mean, on paper, we're unsinkable, we're successful. But inside, it feels incredibly fragile. It feels like one rogue wave, one market shift, one bad diagnosis, and the whole structure just splinters. We feel, spiritually adrift in the middle of our own success.
It's interesting you use that word fragile because we're living in this paradox, aren't we? An age of just unprecedented external solidity technology, data, and this unprecedented internal fragility.
Right.
I mean, burnout isn't just an occasional gripe anymore. It's a silent epidemic. Anxiety is our default cultural setting. And the problem is when we feel that storm hitting, our instinct is to fix the sails or start screaming at the crew.
Or just grip the wheel harder. I know I do that. I think if I just steer with more intensity, if I just worry more efficiently, I control the weather.
That is the great illusion of control. But if you look at actual nautical science, when a ship survives a massive storm, it isn't the sails, those are usually furled, and it's honestly not even the captain's skill in that exact moment.
So what is it?
It's the keel.
The keel. Okay, I know that's a boat part, but let's get specific. What are we actually talking about here?
So physically, the keel is this heavy, submerged spine that runs deep beneath the hull. You can't see it from the surface.
Invisible.
Totally invisible. But it's the counterweight. It lowers the center of gravity. Without a keel, a ship is just a cork bobbing on the water. Every gust of wind is a threat. Every swell could capsize it.
Okay.
But with a massive, heavy keel, the vessel can rock. It can list 80 degrees to the side, but it won't flip. It retains its orientation.
So it doesn't stop the boat from rocking. The storm is still happening, the boat's still moving.
Exactly.
But the keel stops it from becoming a catastrophe.
Precisely. And in the context of our deep dive today, the keel is your inner steadiness. Now, I want to be really careful here because I can already hear the objections.
Yeah.
This is not rigidity.
Yeah.
It is not stoicism where you're just wearing armor and pretending nothing hurts. And it's definitely not that toxic positivity.
Oh, the forced smile. I'm fine. Everything's great. While the kitchen's on fire behind you.
The "this is fine" dog meme. It's not that. A keel doesn't pretend the waves aren't there. It's a quiet, heavy alignment with your deepest values. It's an unshakable awareness that you are more than your circumstances.
Okay, I hear you, but this is where my ambitious side starts to get a little twitchy. I'm the guy who wants to build things. I want to grow. And whenever I hear phrases like inner steadiness, my brain translates that to losing my edge. It sounds soft.
Right.
Do I have to move to a monastery and give up on my Q4 revenue goals to build this keel? Because I really can't afford to be passive right now.
And that's the great fear of the high performer, isn't it? We equate panic with productivity. We think if we're not suffering, we're not working hard enough.
Exactly.
But we're going to explore a very different angle today. We're looking at ancient Buddhist psychology, not as a way to escape the world, but as a high-performance toolkit for navigating modern chaos without drowning in it. It's about active clarity, not checking out.
Active clarity. Okay, I can get on board with that. But you have to prove it to me. I mean, the sources talk about reframing suffering, which sounds a bit like learning to like losing.
Not quite. In Buddhist philosophy, there's the central concept, dukkha.
Dukkha.
Yeah. It's often translated as suffering, but a much better translation for us is unsatisfactoriness or friction. The idea is that the storm, the dukkha, isn't a flaw in the system, it's just part of the ocean.
Markets crash. People disappoint us.
Competitors launch better products. The storm is inevitable. It's a feature, not a bug.
A feature, not a bug.
Okay, but here's the critical distinction. The problem isn't the storm, The problem is our reaction to it. It's the resistance. It's standing on the deck screaming at the waves, this shouldn't be happening to me.
But wait, hang on. If I stop resisting, aren't I just rolling over? If my business is tanking and I just say, well, friction is part of life, isn't that just giving up?
That is the misconception. Dropping the resistance doesn't mean dropping the action. It just means dropping the internal tantrum. I mean, think about how much mental bandwidth you lose to just rumination. Replaying bad news, predicting the worst case scenario. If you stop expending 80% of your energy screaming, why me? You free up all that energy to ask a much more powerful question, what can I do now?
So it's actually an efficiency hack. You're redirecting energy from panic, which solves nothing, to problem solving, which might actually save the ship.
It's strategic energy management, and we have the neuroscience to back this up. This isn't just philosophy, it's biology. When you practice this kind of mindfulness, staying present with difficulty rather than fighting it, you physically change your brain.
Okay, I love when we get to the hardware. Give me the specs.
Well, think of it as a hardware upgrade. Research shows that consistent mindfulness practice actually thickens the prefrontal cortex. That's the CEO of your brain.
The part that handles focus, planning.
Emotional regulation, long-term planning. The part of you that decides not to throw your laptop out the window when the Wi-Fi cuts out.
Yeah, I know that part well.
Exactly. But at the same time, this practice shrinks the amygdala. That's the lizard brain, the alarm bell, the fight or flight center. So you're not just learning a coping mechanism, you are physically altering your neural architecture to be less reactive and more command capable.
Biological armor.
That's a good way to put it.
That makes sense. But let's ground this. I mean, it's easy to talk about brain scans, but it's a lot harder to do this when you're staring at a red balance sheet. There was a Silicon Valley CEO you mentioned.
Yes, and her story is fascinating because she was in the deep end. High stakes, massive pressure from investors, company near collapse, the classic startup nightmare.
The kind of situation where the standard advice is sleep less, caffeinate more, grind until it's fixed.
Correct. And she tried that. She was waking up at 3 a.m. with her heart hammering, answering emails that didn't need to be answered, just spinning out.
So knuckling it.
Totally. And it wasn't working, so she did something completely counterintuitive. She started sitting in silence for 20 minutes every single morning.
Just sitting, with the company falling apart.
Just observing her breath. Not trying to manifest abundance, not trying to solve the strategy in her head, just sitting with a sensation of panic without acting on it.
And what happened?
The result wasn't that she stopped caring, it was that the panic attacks lessened. The fog lifted. Her meetings became more focused because she wasn't projecting her own anxiety onto her team. She started listening to understand them, rather than just waiting for her turn to speak.
So she didn't become less ambitious.
No. She became more intentional. Her success didn't diminish, it deepened because it was sustainable. She stopped being the victim of the storm and became its navigator.
I like that distinction, intentionality versus reactivity, because I feel like modern life is designed to keep us reactive. I feel fragmented constantly. I've got 20 tabs open in my browser, but it feels like I have 20 tabs open in my soul too.
That fragmentation is the crisis of the modern age. And that brings us to the how. The material outlines this triad of resilience, 3 ancient practices to forge this keel. The first one addresses exactly what you just said. It's attention, or in the Pali language, sati.
Sati. Okay, is this just like focusing really hard? Because I try to focus and then I end up scrolling social media for 45 minutes.
It's not just concentration, it's about reclaiming sovereignty over where your awareness rests.
Sovereignty.
I mean, think about it. The algorithms, the notifications, the breaking news, they are all fighting a war to colonize your attention. Sati is the ability to step out of that current of reactivity and into the stillness of choice.
It implies you're the ruler of your own mind, not just a tenant.
Exactly. There's this vivid example of a financial advisor during a major market crash. Picture the scene. The market drops 10% in a morning. The trading floor is chaos.
Oh, I can feel the anxiety already.
Phones are ringing off the hook. Clients are screaming, sell, sell, sell. The collective panic is palpable.
My absolute nightmare. The impulse to just do something, anything, would be overwhelming.
That's autopilot taking over. The amygdala is screaming, run! But the mindful advisor, she pauses, she physically stops, and she takes 3 conscious breaths.
3 breaths. It sounds so small.
Almost trivial, right? But in that pause, she steps out of the collective hallucination of panic. She remembers the long arc of economic cycles, she remembers her training.
She reconnects with the keel.
And because of that, she doesn't act on panic, she acts on wisdom. She tells her clients, we are holding. That is strategic presence.
It's the difference between a reflex and a response. The panic is the reflex. Strategic presence is the ability to override it. Okay, so step one is attention.
Yeah.
But what if I don't like what I see? If I look at my business and realize it is actually on fire, how does the keel help then?
That brings us to the hardest pillar for high achievers to swallow. The second element, equanimity, or upekkha.
Equanimity. Yeah, this is the one that sounds like you just don't care. It sounds aloof.
That's the common trap. People think it means cold indifference, but true equanimity is non-reactive balance. The metaphor used is the mind like a mountain. The weather can rage on the slopes, rain, wind, snow, but the mountain itself remains unmoving in its essence.
Okay, that's a beautiful metaphor.
Okay.
But practically, let's say I'm a manager. I'm in a meeting, and I get some really harsh, unfair feedback in front of my team. My face gets hot, my stomach drops. How does being a mountain help me?
Great example. So without equanimity, what happens? Your ego flares up. The story starts spiraling instantly. They don't respect me. I'm failing. I'm going to get fired.
Right, you either shut down or lash out. I've been there.
With equanimity, you still feel the sting. You acknowledge, ouch, this hurts. I feel embarrassed. You don't deny the emotion. You're not a robot. But you don't identify with it. You see the feedback as data, not destiny.
Data, not destiny. That's a
Wow.
key shift.
Precisely. It prevents the collapse. You can look at the feedback and ask, is there truth here? What can I learn? Rather than, I am worthless. It creates a sacred gap between the stimulus and your response, and in that gap, you have freedom.
Okay, I'm seeing how these fit. Attention stops the fragmentation. Equanimity stops the emotional spiral. But I have to play devil's advocate again.
Please do.
If I'm so balanced and zen and I'm just observing my breath and being a mountain, am I going to lose my drive? If I'm okay with everything, why would I ever hustle to improve anything?
That's the fear. That is the fear that keeps people locked in anxiety. And that brings us to the third pillar, which answers that ambition question directly. It's right effort, or virya. It translates to wise energy. It is not the grind. It is not hustle culture, wearing burnout as a badge of honor. It is the commitment to cultivate what heals and release what harms. And crucially, it implies that rest is a partner to effort, not the opposite of it.
Wise energy. So it's about where you point the hose, not just how high you turn up the pressure.
Perfect analogy. There's a story of a designer that illustrates this perfectly. She had massive creative block, huge campaign, deadline looming, and just paralyzed by the pressure.
Ugh, I think every creative person listening just shuddered. We know that
We're
feeling.
staring at the blank page, and usually we try to force it. We white-knuckle our way through. But she decided to try virya wise effort. She set a timer for 10 minutes and just sat with the block.
So she didn't try to sketch or anything.
Nothing. Didn't scroll for inspiration. She just observed the frustration, the judgment, the tightness in her shoulders. She stopped fighting the wave, and after a few days, something shifted. The block didn't magically vanish, but her relationship to it changed. She stopped seeing it as an enemy to be destroyed and started seeing it as a signal to slow down. And from that stillness, not from force, ideas began to flow.
That's the synthesis, isn't it? Attention grounded her. Equanimity let her feel the frustration without spiraling. And right effort was the choice to sit there rather than force a solution.
You've got it. The three work together. Attention stops the distraction, equanimity balances the emotion, and effort directs the energy wisely. It's a dynamic system, not a passive one.
So what does this all mean for the big picture? We started this talking about success and fragility. And it feels like we're setting up a choice.
Yeah. You can be wealthy and successful, or you can be spiritual and peaceful.
That is the false dichotomy that holds so many people back. We think we have to choose between the boardroom and the meditation cushion.
Right.
But the sources argue that this is an illusion. In fact, the highest form of spiritual practice is engaging with the world with integrity, not retreating to a cave.
So walking into the fire, that sounds like entrepreneurship to me. That sounds like leading a family through a crisis.
It is. There's this concept of the bodhisattva in Buddhism, the being who doesn't wait for perfect peace to help others, but walks into the fire with grounded feet. It's the founder building a business that heals because she understands interdependence. It's success infused with soul. And I think that's what we're all actually looking for. We don't just want the numbers on the scoreboard. We want to feel good about how we played the game.
And here is where we get to the most counterintuitive insight of this entire deep dive. We've talked about building the keel, about effort and attention, but the ultimate source of this inner steadiness, it comes from surrender.
Whoa. Okay, you just convinced me that acceptance wasn't giving up, and now you're dropping the word surrender. You know that sounds like losing, right?
I know. In our culture, surrender means waving the white flag, but in this context, surrender doesn't mean giving up on your goals. It means dropping the secondary suffering.
Break that down for me, secondary suffering.
Primary suffering is the event, the lost client, the bad diagnosis. That's real and it hurts. Secondary suffering is the story you tell about it. Why me? This is a disaster. I can't handle this. I'm a failure.
That's the second arrow.
That is the second arrow we shoot into ourselves. Surrender is dropping that story and looking at reality with radical honesty. It's admitting, this is where I am, without the commentary track.
And when you do that, you can experience an ontological shift. You realize you are not your job title. You are not your bank account. You are the space in which the storm moves.
That's a heavy concept. You are the space in which the storm moves.
It means you're vast enough to hold it all. The anxiety, the ambition, the fear, the excitement. You don't have to get rid of the storm to be whole. You're already whole.
That is actually a huge relief. It takes the pressure off. I don't have to fix myself to be worthy of success.
Exactly. And that changes how you operate. You move from, how can I succeed so I can finally feel good about myself, to, I am grounded in my center. Now, how can I serve?
That pivot to service seems key. It gets you out of your own head.
It is, because the world doesn't need more frantic hustlers. We have plenty of those. The source material puts it beautifully. The world needs healers who can build. We need grounded souls who dare to deliver.
Healers who can build. That's a powerful identity. It says you can be competent and conscious.
And it leaves us with a really provocative question for everyone listening to chew on.
Lay it on us.
What if your greatest contribution isn't what you produce? The widgets, the spreadsheets, the sales numbers, but how you show up while producing it.
How you show up, that hits home. Because people remember the energy you brought into the room way more than they remember the slide deck.
They do. Your inner state is your greatest influence. If you lead from panic, you create panic. If you lead from your keel, from that steadiness, you create a container where others can succeed too. You become the calm in their storm.
So for everyone listening who feels like they're in the middle of that storm right now, maybe the waves are high, maybe you can't see the shore, what's the immediate takeaway?
Don't try to stop the storm. You can't. Just find your keel in the next micro moment. It's the breath before you reply to that triggering email. It's the pause before you make that impulse purchase. It's the choice to be present right now, even if right now is messy.
One breath, one pause.
That's where the journey begins. Again and again.
I love that. It's not a destination, it's a practice. All right, thank you for guiding us through this. This was steadying.
A pleasure to navigate with you.
And to you, the listener, go find that keel. The storm might be raging, but you've got a spine of steel under there. We'll catch you in the next deep dive. Stay steady.